So I saw a video earlier today that Clark had posted about having a racist teacher when she was in high school. And I thought about it, I'm like, I've never really had any racist or any teachers that I guess I encountered and like physically saw. But I did have one encounter with a teacher. She wasn't even my teacher, she was a teacher in the school. And when I tell you my mother put the fear of God in that lady. So So one day we had, this is junior high school, I was in sixth grade. They put us seventh period in the auditorium for assembly. I feel like that was the time where teachers like had like it was like a bunch of teachers that were out and they just needed to just put a bunch of kids in the auditorium because they had no actual teacher or no, to cover the period. So we're all piled in. Now you know how the auditorium is in schools, public schools. It's like one big section in the middle and then two small sections on the side. So I was on the right side. It's the seventh period. I had a Spanish exam, eighth period. And we had a teacher called Professor Kelly. And she was one of those, that was her. She liked to dance. She would sing. Like she was like a vibrant teacher. She was very stern. And she always had her nails was long like this. And she always had her finger like, so we didn't play. Like she made sure that we were going to be on point when we come to her class. There was no chewing any gum, no eating any food. So I'm there and me and another kid next to me. We're studying for the test. Now I had my Trapper Keeper. Boy, I wish they had those again. I had a pink Trapper Keeper binder. And he was studying through his Bienvenidos Spanish textbook. And we're sitting there, we're studying, and I don't even know what they had going on, or they had somebody speaking or something going on in assembly. And then this teacher that walks by, she sees us like not paying attention out of the whole entire auditorium. She sees just the two of me and this kid not paying attention, supposedly. And she goes, "Oh, you guys are being disrespectful." And she stretches over and she snatches up my binder out of my hand. And she snatches up his Bienvenidos textbook. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's not that serious. It's not like we weren't, like, you got kids talking. I'm over here just with my head in my book studying. So she's like, come and talk to me when assembly is done. So I'm like, I just was going over some work just to make sure I do good on this exam that I'm about to have eighth period, not knowing we weren't going to have eighth period because we were going to be sitting in the auditorium for assembly for seventh and eighth period. So cool. At the end, I don't know if all schools did this in New York, but I know when I was in junior high school, we had the special buses outside, and our special buses were actual like New York City buses. So we had like the B46, the B78. If you know, you know. Because y'all know the B47 growing up now. It was the B78 back in the 90s. And then they had like the B41 that they just had like two buses of each sitting outside the school to just carry the kids and just drop them off. Everybody just got on the bus. So I'm talking to my people when when assembly was done, like, all right, what bus are we getting on? Because where a bunch of us will live, we are literally in between the B41 the B78 and the B46 at the time. So we always would do a choice of, if we want to stop on this store on this side or we want to stop at this store on this side. So either way, we're chit-chatting after, and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta get my binder from this teacher. So her class was across the hall from the auditorium. So as I was finished chatting with my friends and we're getting ready to go leave, we walk out and I see him come out of the classroom with the textbook in his hand. And he goes and he leaves. When I walk in the classroom, she was like, "Oh, Miss Disrespectful." Because I was studying. She was like, "I need you to have your mother come get this book." And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, damn. Mind you, this is my full binder. All my subjects are in this binder. So I'm not going to be able to do no homework. I go home. I'm like, damn, I'm over here. I'm fretting. I'm like, damn, my mother, they gonna kick my ass tonight. I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. So I get home, and how I usually would operate doing my schoolwork, every time I get home, the first thing I would do, I would lay out my binder and I would lay out all my textbooks around for whatever homework I have to get done. Because I wanted to hurry up because I needed to go watch Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zeo, or whatever was on TV. I want to watch my cartoons and eat my snacks. So I used to just lay out all my books, do all my homework, and then I was done. That was how I operated. And then I leave it there for my mom and my dad to come home and check it before, dinner time. Cool. So I'm sitting there and my mother comes home and she looks at the table and she doesn't see any homework for her to check. She's like, "Oh, you didn't get any homework?" And I was like, "Well, I got homework, but the teacher, said I was being disrespectful and took my binder." And she was like, "You were doing what?" So I told her the situation and she was like, "You were doing what? That's all that happened?" And she wanted me to come and get your binder? So I'm still thinking I'm in trouble because I'm like, damn, like I don't get in trouble because my parents are terrified. My parents are terrifying. So I'm like, all right, cool. The next day, we get up in the morning. She has my little brother. She doesn't take my little brother to school. And I remember we go to the school and she had to take off work. I think that pissed her off even more is the fact that not only you messing with my child, but I had to take off work for this nonsense. So we go into the school. I never forget, we get the assistant principal, Mr. Sklar. I don't know if he's still alive. If he's still alive, he was a nice man. He was a nice man. He smoked cigarettes. He had tight pants. And he had on cowboy boots with a little spinny thing in the back, like you see in like them old cowboy movies. And he had every key for the building attached to his hip. So you would hear him clink, clink, clink as he walking. So he's coming. So I'm like, everything is just like scaring the hell out of me because I'm like, oh, Mr. Sklar's coming. Like, all right, my mother's here. He goes and pulls the teacher out of her class. And I'm standing there like, oh my God, like, okay, moment of truth. So she comes out and she was like, yeah, she was supposed to be paying attention. And she was here, her head down in her book. So my mother, it clicks like, so you took my daughter's binder because she was studying, not because she was talking, because I was a talker. That's my thing. That's what my mother thought, like I was lying to her and didn't tell her that I was being disruptive. So she's like, you took my daughter's binder because she had her head in her book and she was not paying attention to assembly. And that's it. And you wanted me to come up, take off my day off work to come up here to talk to you about what? Her being disrespectful for her not paying attention in assembly? When I tell you my mother laid into her so bad, I swear she was about to cry. I swear she was about to cry. My mother was like, let me tell you something. She's like, you stopped my daughter from doing all of her homework. So now I want you and Mr. Sklar to write a letter to all her teachers informing them why she didn't have her notebook, her binder for her to get her homework done last night that's due today. I want you to inform the teachers because what you're telling me is BS. And she said to this lady, she said, let me tell you something. As far as the East is for the West, is as far as you to stay the hell away from my daughter. Stay the hell away from my daughter. Because if I have to come back up in this school for anything that my daughter did not do in a wrong, she said, you're going to see me and it ain't going to be nice. So that's when Mr. Sklar was like, all right, all right, all right. She was like, no, I'm telling you too, Mr. Sklar. If this lady has some situation with my daughter, she said, she's not even my daughter's teacher for her to even be putting her hands on my daughter's things. She's not her actual teacher. She has no business being around my daughter in the first place. So if I have to come up this school, back to this school for anything with this lady, trust and believe you're going to see me. And that lady was, but from that day, this was 6th grade, from that day forward, all the way until I graduated 8th grade, that lady, if she saw me, she did a U-turn. She was going to the other side of the hall. She would walk past. She would not even look at me and make eye contact because she's like, I don't want no problem with this lady and her, this girl and her mama. But that brought back some memories because I tell you, my mother, she was one of those. In this term, in this day and age, I call her a quiet crash out. Because she's not one of them that's going to go wild out and tear up the place. She's going to come to you and she's going to tell you something and she's going to be quiet. And she's like, listen, you touch my child, I will probably off you. And she would say it with a straight face. No issues. I call her the quiet crash out because my mama crazy. But yeah, Clark she jogged my memory of that incident back in elementary school. Other than that, all my teachers, besides probably college, I had no real issues. So shout out to all my teachers I had over the course of my life.